Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. How are we doing? It is time. It's time for a new trial. I've been keeping this one a little bit close to the vest. Defense made a motion for a mistrial. Prosecutor was up to some fuckery. Potentially damaging evidence, no basis for it. The judge specifically said, do not ask that question. Do not use that as evidence. She walked right down the path and asked the question. It may be over on Tuesday morning. Batman Bruce Wayne bitch snitch. Gerald Brooks, your constitution does not apply to me because I'm a sovereign citizen, a traveler on the land. I'm from the Moorish Empire or whatever, bitch snitch. Because they're so fucking absurd. If you want to be a sovereign citizen, just do yourself a favor first. Go to YouTube here and just get every sovereign citizen that's ever been before. Find me one that won. God dang, you're right. Don't go down this. It's not the path. Don't have time for stupidity. Some clever dick on the internet didn't find the great loophole in all of the world's law. Bitch snitch. God dang, you're right. God dang, you're right. Traveler on the land. God dang, you're right. Moorish Empire. Traveler on the land. Bitch snitch. Moorish Empire. God dang, you're right. Traveler on the land. Bitch snitch. The late evening U.S. people. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Hi, how are you? Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you're doing it with, however many times you plan on doing, and however good it feels, I'm just glad you're doing it right here with me. Legal Vices on this little old channel I like to call Legal Vices because I'm creative like that. Yeah, so it is, I don't even know what day of the week it is. It's Wednesday here and it's Wednesday in most places except for the east coast of Australia and places such as that where it is in the wee hours of Thursday morning. So we're here doing what I plan to do on Wednesday, which is we are going to be in just a minute pulling up our very super special guest of the day, which is the, as she hates to be called, the notorious Jules. Jules, who found herself to be a lightning rod, one of the centerpieces in the desperate bid by Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, J. Hatch's desperate attempts to avoid having to pay $261 million. We're going to be bringing her in to tell her a little bit about her, how she got all involved in this and what life has been like and what really happened in her own words. All the channels, all the true crime channels, the law tube channels have all been talking about this person, Jules. So I thought we'd bring her on here today to let her tell her story in her own way. And for those of you that are coming up and wondering what's going on for the rest of the week, tomorrow will be OJ. It's going to be OJ Simpson, our normal OJ stream, which we do every Thursday with me and Chandler Remington. We're going to be going through the closing argument still. We're continuing with that. It will be Barry Scheck. We're going to be looking at Barry Scheck's closing arguments in the O.J. Simpson trial. And then Friday, I'm still working on Friday. It looks like probably most likely Friday we will be doing the, from the Zachariah Anderson trial, we'll be looking at the police, well, it wasn't even an interrogation, the police questioning of Sadie, Zach Anderson's ex, and I'll be giving my thoughts on that. And then I will have, hopefully we'll have a Maritime Monday, and that'll be it. So there we go. That's what's coming up in the next few days. As always, we have our like and subscribe poll. There's 144 people here and 100 likes, so 44 people haven't done their job. Get down there, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Just do it, so I don't have to keep talking about it. And then take our like and subscribe poll. It's always there. It's a thing we do every day. This is kind of lame because, frankly, I was busy and didn't have a lot of time to put any thought into it whatsoever, and I usually don't put any thought into the stupid like and subscribe poll. But today's like and subscribe poll is, did you like and subscribe? Yes, no, and this is a stupid poll, but I liked it. So 5% of you said no. Well, shame on you, 5%. Get down there and do it anyway. Even if it's under duress, hit that like button. Costs nothing to like the stream, costs nothing to subscribe. You can just do it and forget about it forever and ever and ever, unless you actually have subscribed and you care, and in which case, please just go down there and double check and make sure you're still subscribed, because YouTube is asshole and likes to unsubscribe people from various channels for no reason whatsoever. All right, I think that's most of our housekeeping today. Not a lot to talk about, so we got into it nice and quick. And I'm just double checking, scrolling around here. I'm glad everybody is here. We have the Vice Squad chat is in full force with 179 people present. So let's just do this. Let's bring up Jules and have a conversation with her. See what's went on, what's going on, and what's going to be going on. All righty, let me see what's here. Yep, all right. Adding to the stage, it's Jules. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's my pleasure. As we talked about, it's just we need to get to the bottom of all of this. We've heard many things about you, and now we need to separate the fact from the fiction, I think.
Okay.
Get to know a little bit about what's going on. And by the way, as always, super chats are not required. They're not requested, but they are graciously and gratefully accepted. And super chats are absolutely the best way of getting any comments to either myself or Jules, or questions for either of us noticed. I guarantee any super chats get read and addressed. So if there's anything you specifically desperately have to know, that's the best way of going about it. Otherwise, I'll just be following chat as closely as I can, and if I see things, I'll highlight it and bring them up. But again, it's just letting you know that super chats do get absolutely guaranteed read and addressed. All right, with that out of the way, Jules.
Hey,
Jules.
Jeff.
Jules.
Yeah, this has been a long time in the making.
So everything has gone according to your plan. You've orchestrated your internet stardom, correct?
No, actually, I guess I should thank J Hatch for that, since specifically Ethan Shapiro, by labeling me notorious and a social media influencer. And I don't think that Ethan Shapiro quite knows what the definition of that is, because I'm so not that.
Well, let's start at the very beginning, because as Julie Andrews said, that's a very good place to start.
Sure.
Who are you? Where do you come from? What background do we need to know about you personally?
I was born and raised in Jersey.
What part?
Well, I was born in Jersey City, New Jersey. I started out as a city baby girl, and then eventually my parents relocated to Bergen County. Wanted to get us out of the city, and so we did that. And then at a very what I'm about to tell you, then you'll realize why through the course of the trial I ended up relating to this family so much.
Okay. Just so you know, my mother was born in Patterson.
Oh, I know Patterson well.
my mother was born in Patterson.
Okay, I was in Little Ferry, right next to Hackensack.
Okay.
Okay. Well, it's 20 minutes east of
Yeah.
Patterson.
Yeah.
So, um, but at a young age, I was very close to my dad. I'm the youngest of the entire family. I was the oops child. Um, yeah, I was an oopsie.
That
They
was
were
my brother. When I was growing because there's like 4 years between me and my older brother, 2 years between me and my younger sister, and then like 7 years between her.
I
And
have
we
you
just
beat.
I just called him Accident when we were growing up. That was my
Yeah.
nickname for my brother. I
Yeah,
just
no,
called him
no, no.
Accident.
The largest age gap between me and my next sibling is 15 years.
Oh my God! Wow. All
And
right.
then at 15 years, 15 years, 18 years, 20 years, and 22 years.
Well,
Yeah, I was an oops. Wasn't
that's of like epic proportions. Okay.
Yes, yes. And with me, it was
So,
even though
but
I
hey, you
had
didn't get any hand me downs because they'd thrown
no,
everything away by that point, I would guess.
that's a fact. And because of that, my sisters, one in particular, was very resentful of that. And also my parents, I come from an Italian Catholic, a very strict Italian Catholic family. And so there was just a whole lot basically you could say I was raised as an only child because of the
Yeah.
extreme age difference, and my parents parented me differently than they parented them. So that caused a lot of
Mm,
issues growing up. And then at a very young age, I lost my dad from self-deletion.
mm,
So, and I was the one who found him, and it was also in our garage. So
mm,
that played a very big part in my mental status for many, many, many years.
yeah.
And at a very young age, I got pregnant, got married. Yes, in that order. That's exactly what happened. And then I had two more children after that. So I have three sons. Um, I was basically a child raising children. Uh, it was difficult. I really didn't have uh much help, and I did not want to get married. Neither did he. Hence, it ended in divorce.
Mhm.
Um, but I continued with my boys. Even though we're close in age, and I made mistakes along the lines. I was not a perfect parent. However, I did realize that my middle child had medical issues that no one believed me. And
Mm,
everyone told me that it was up in my head. There was nothing wrong with my child. And I went from pediatrician, well, two pediatricians, but then I went from ear specialist because my son was not speaking, and I suspected
mm,
he was deaf, and no one believed me. And I went from to three major hospitals in northern New Jersey, and I was told then, everything was in my mind until that third doctor actually did testing. Because again, the first two doctors, and this is why I could relate with this case, um, constantly medicating my kid. And I
mm,
was like, there's something not right here. But the third doctor actually performed tests before medicating my son and found out, yes, in fact, my child was born deaf, and he had to have 7 surgeries, and thank God he's great today. But
mm.
again, had that had I been a young mother today, and I took the steps that I did, I would be accused of doctor shopping. I would be accused of, I mean, of everything. This case brought all of that to my life.
Wow.
So,
Well,
That's
where did you get interested in all of this in the beginning? I mean, where does your fascination and interest with true crime start?
oh Lord. It started with O.J. Simpson. Um, I was a Buffalo Bills fan.
Mm-hmm.
He was my hero,
Yeah.
number 32. And I, when the news broke about Nicole Simpson, I was like, no, no, no. And I could not, I believed the alibi at the time, that
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't even in the area. And I followed that case very closely, and I know I'm going to get a lot of criticism about what I'm about to say. I watched every minute of that trial, and at that time, that trial was not just on cable, wasn't just on CNN. It was on even our local stations. I mean, it was everywhere. So
Yeah,
I
and a lot of people don't really know that's the case that launched Court TV, basically.
It is, yes. And I watched every moment of that trial. I have to tell you, when the verdict came down, I was glad. I was like, they did the right thing because, and I need to explain why at that time I felt he was not guilty, or they didn't prove to me
Hmm.
he was guilty. And that was the DNA. Mark
Mm-hmm.
Furman was a whole different thing. I mean, yeah, he screwed up, but that was it. For me, it was the DNA at the time. It was brand new. Marsha Clark did not do the prosecuting office any favors by how she presented it. I couldn't understand it. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't wrap my head around it. And therefore, I dismissed it. And then with the thing with Mark Furman, the glove, and then, Johnny Cochran, if the hat doesn't fit, all of that weighed into my decision. And I felt that he wasn't guilty. Now, ask me today, with everything that I've learned over the years about DNA, the man did it. And that's it.
I still don't know. I mean, I think he may have been there and seen it, but I just don't see him actually doing it. For a 46-year-old guy, with arthritis, taking out a strapping 20-something young man and a young woman and getting zero injuries on his body and zero blood on him. But I mean, it goes, and I was the trial, the O.J. Simpson trial took place for all of you youngs in the audience was 1995.
Yeah.
Well, and I it was started the first half of the second half of my second year of law school, and then finished the first half of my third year of law school, and the summer in between. And so I also watched every minute of it. I skipped a bunch of law school just to watch this, and then I videotaped it every day and watched, came home and watched what I couldn't watch during, live during the day. But that was one of the points when Furman turned out to be a big giant racist, and when Barry Scheck destroyed criminologist Dennis Fung on the stand for 8 days, just made him his bitch in just like the most horrible way ever.
It was
With what
horrible.
I say is one of the greatest cross examinations you will ever see anyone ever give in court in your life. And the other part was the DNA, where they pounded on this for 2 weeks. The prosecution spent 2 full weeks just talking numbers, nonsense numbers that nobody understood at that point. I said they've lost the jury, and then that was part of the reason why they came back with a not guilty verdict. It's like, okay, there's all these weird numbers that people are throwing around that don't mean anything, but then you get Johnny Cochran just standing there going, "Hey, the glove didn't fit."
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
back then I was like 100%,
Yeah.
I would have gone to war with anyone over that case saying, not guilty. And I mean, even F. Lee Bailey, I mean,
Hmm.
he destroyed Mark Furman.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, I mean, it
absolutely.
definitely was a dream team. He had a
Yeah.
dream team, you know.
Well, and see, I mean, that's the thing that we see in that my big lesson that I tell people, because everybody goes, you get good lawyers, you can buy a verdict, no, especially in criminal cases, money, you're up against the state, who essentially, for all intents and purposes, has an unlimited budget and unlimited resources.
Yeah.
Good
And
lawyers, like the Dream Team, they only make an attempt to level the playing field. And and the numbers I give people are the County of Los Angeles spent $9 million prosecuting O.J. Simpson.
what does that equate to today?
A lot. But,
Okay.
but O.J. Simpson's legal bills were $6 million. So Los Angeles County still outspent him by $3 million. And they walked away with the not guilty verdict. So having vast resources like O.J. Simpson did you don't get to buy a verdict. You get to level the playing field as closely as possible.
Sure.
And you see the same thing here. If Jack Kowalski had been indigent, he probably wouldn't have got the team he got. If he even would have got this thing off the ground in the first place. But I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves again. So
Yeah.
OJ was your first kind of foray into true crime. And then where did that go from there?
Then it went to following cases on Court TV, following cases locally. My second husband was in the Navy, so we moved around a lot. So wherever we were, locally, I would get involved. And when we lived in Georgia, we had quite a few high-profile cases there that I got involved with. One case that I followed was Tara Grinstead when she went missing. Then it went. The next really big one was Casey Anthony, and I was still living in Georgia at the time, but I came down to Florida, and I participated on 2 searches for little Kaylee while she was missing. And I followed that case very closely, made a ton of contacts throughout. Rob Dick is one of them. He is the PI/Bail's bondsman that helped, get her out on bond. And he spent quite a few alone times with her. And I got to meet him. We became friends. We're friends till this very day. We still discuss, what went on down there. Tim Miller from Texas Equisearch, I got to be friends with him and became heavily involved in his organization, which I'm still part of. I even have team leader status with him because I took a search and rescue course and passed, which I didn't think I would, but I did. And and then I was, by the time she went to trial, now we were living here in Florida, and I wasn't far. The trial, obviously, it was moved over to Pinellas County. Ironically, where J Hatch, this whole business with J Hatch originated. And I wasn't able to go to her trial every day because the lines to get in was
But you did go to
crazy.
Casey Anthony's trial.
I did. I got to sit in 5 times on the trial. And in my opinion, that jury got it wrong. And, and I've been to others. Go ahead.
When did you start getting into the social media side of true crime reporting?
Well, that actually started about a year and a half ago. I was participating on another YouTube channel, and I would, whenever he would cover true crime, because that's not his forte, but whenever he would, cover a case, and it was a case that I was following, I would be a guest on his show, and we would discuss, you know, I would have the documents pulled up for him and et cetera. And so that's where that came from about a year and a half ago. And then last summer is when I started the TikTok thing, because the YouTube thing scares me. I think it's complicated and it's difficult, and where TikTok is, you know, you make a 10-minute video, whatever, drop the video and off you go. And, you know, but this is, you know, a whole different genre. So.
Okay. And so what cases have you done as far as the social media goes during the past year and a half? Other than the Maya case?
Koberger, Florida versus Reeves. That was the retired cop, also known as the popcorn toss trial. Yeah. I attended that trial.
Cool.
Yeah. Florida versus Keatley, another trial I attended. That was the quote unquote the retry of the ice cream truck killer, which is crazy because the first time it was a hung jury and the majority of them voted not guilty. And I said I was not part of the original trial, but the second trial I was. And his lawyer was the same lawyer that defended Reeves, the popcorn
guy, right?
Right? Okay. And he won that. And I felt that he was guilty, and he won that trial as a not guilty. I felt Keatley was not guilty. And the second time around, they found him guilty. So it was that. Yeah. And then Petito.
So you've been doing that. You've done a lot of these cases.
Yes, this case was the first civil one that I've ever gotten involved in.
All right. Wow. So it's not like you just walk specifically into the Maya Kowalski proceedings. When did you first become aware, I guess, of the Maya case, and how did you become aware?
I think it was around 2018. The Sarasota Herald Tribune ran an article on this, and I read the article and I thought, like, wow, this is strange. And now looking back, now that I know what I know, I can look back to that article and say that was very pro the hospital. And because in my mind, I thought, oh, this is never going to trial. This is just not going to happen. There's no way a hospital would do this. And look at their credentials. And, you know, and John Hopkins is a big name. I mean, they're everywhere. And that, I think it was 2018. And then it kind of went by the wayside. And then in 2020, I believe it was 2020, or 2021, it came out that this was going to happen. And I was like, holy crap, this is really going to trial. This is crazy. This is not a winnable case. But because it's right in my backyard, I mean, literally, I was like, well, we'll see, you know, we'll wait and see. And then September rolled around. It was announced. And mind you, I had not read any documents or anything at this point. And I said, I'm going to go. And when I went, I sat on the defense side of the courtroom. That's where I was. But as testimony started coming out, and at night, I would go on the court's website. I would start pulling documents. I was going all the way back, and I started pulling documents every evening. I sat here and I did nothing but scour these documents. And I was like, I'm on the wrong side of the courtroom here. And I moved over and to the other side. And the rest, it is what it is.
So, all right. So it was, I guess, before the trial happened. Did you know anybody from the defense, the plaintiffs, the families, the neighbors, the judge? Were you familiar with anybody involved in this whatsoever?
I knew no one. I did not know the Kowalski family. I did not know the plaintiff's legal team or any consultants that were involved with them. And I did not know any of the legal team for the defense. I knew no one. No one.
This was just another trial that was near you that you were going to go to. And so you go to the trial, and what do you do with it after? Do you do like Facebook, TikTok, everything? What do you do at the end of your days in court for this and other cases?
I was doing my TikToks, and then it came to my attention that Rob from Law and Lumber was doing nightly updates on the trial. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. I want to see what a lawyer has to say about this. And so I started watching him, and I was in the chat, and I would say in there, well, I'm there, I'm in there. And, I would say, this is the makeup of the jury. So, I told him, 7 women, 5 men, and so that's how that got on a roll. And then people, after about, I guess, a week or so after doing that, people in Rob's chat was saying, you need to call RA. I didn't even know who RA was. I had no earthly idea. And then someone messaged me and said he's actually live streaming, the trial. You really should contact him. And they gave me the number. And so I called, and then it became this thing where on breaks, I would call and give an update on, what was happening behind the scenes, like some stuff that was in front of the jury and some things that, was, went outside of the presence of the jury.
Okay, well, I guess that kind of gives us the good background to start getting into some of the meat and bones of all of this that lead ultimately to what you're doing here now. So this isn't something you did just exclusively for this. For other trials, you do like TikTok updates and things.
Yes.
And this was just one of the things you do.
Yes. And I had no idea that this was going to take on the legs that it did. I had no clue. None.
Well, what I want to do is I want to go through Jay Hatch's motion for a new trial. And just kind of every time you're mentioned, go, which is like way too much for something to do with juror number 1. Some random person in the gallery is getting pointed out to the extent that you got pointed out, and get your thoughts on each of these. Oh, but first, Watchdog has become a new member of the Clean and Sober crew. Thank you so much, Watchdog, for the support. Truly appreciate that. And you can see we do have something else starred. What do we have here? Oh, this was from back in the day. Patterson's a friggin' jungle. I starred that. Okay. No other super chats or anything. So all right, when there's questions or comments, we'll read them as they come in. Let me bring this up here. Share screen window, and that'll move us over there. And let's see if we can embiggen this a little bit. One more. Yeah, okay. All right. We'll take it from the top. Let's see here. My my marked up one. Okay, this is a long sentence. Where are we? In addition to the presumptively prejudicial contacts and communications between juror number 1 and his wife, so the evidence warrants a juror interview and a new trial for the added reason that juror number 1's wife's involvement on social media during the course of the trial, her undisguised bias in favor of plaintiffs, and her alignment with the social media influencer closely linked to plaintiffs known as Jules undeniably compromises the integrity of the judicial system. Okay. Do you consider yourself a social media influencer to begin with?
Jeff, I have 4,000 followers on TikTok. How the hell does that make me a social media influencer? I mean, no, I am not. No.
Closely linked to the plaintiffs.
Again, no. Let me tell you how, no. Let me tell you how I am currently linked, but I was not linked to the plaintiffs or the family at that time. Anybody that, and I don't know if my seatmate Alicia is in the chat or not. I kind of hope she is, but Alicia and we spoke to everyone. Listen, I spoke with the defense. I spoke with Ethan Shapiro in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke with Ms. Carrells. I mean, Ms. Carrells and I had conversations in the restroom. Yeah, folks, it was in the restroom, about most of our conversations was always about how freaking cold the judge kept the courtroom. It was 95 degrees outside and it was like 62 degrees in the courtroom. We were talking about why the flags were at half mast in front of the courthouse. Yes, Miss Carrells was very, very sociable and she was nice and I had no issue with her. Ethan Shapiro, it was the same thing. He was out of the entire defense team, he was the one that I liked the most. Did I speak to the plaintiff's team as well? Hell yeah. It was like, hey, how you doing? Great job. Well, to be fair, in the beginning, I wasn't a fan of Greg Anderson. I just wasn't. He grew on me for sure. And then the family, the day that I actually had contact with the family was the day that Maya's teacher testified. And after, and there was which people are not aware of this, but there was another teacher in the courtroom that was sitting behind me. She did not testify. And during the break, I was talking to her. When the teacher was done and then everybody came out into the hall, then I was talking to both of the teachers. And Maya, Jack, and Kyle came out, and Maya had hugs for the teachers, and it was emotional to see. But we were all talking, and Jack and Kyle were leaning up against the wall, just observing. And I looked over at him, and I said to him, and Alicia was standing right there. She knows. I said to him, "You look like you can use a hug." And he said, "Yeah, I could." And I went over and I hugged him and I said, "I'm really sorry you're going through this. This has been eye-opening for me." And all of that. And that was about the closest I came to discussing the trial. With Jack, and never discussed it with Kyle or Maya. Kyle and Maya, yes, we had conversations. Nothing about the trial. Nothing.
Well, we do have Alan Walsh here from Scotland. Says, Jules, my daughter said with that many followers, you are an influencer. So embrace it. His daughter knows.
All right.
Okay, so you just being nice to people, that's made you a social media influencer closely linked to the plaintiffs. Um, at this point, when did you find out you were being mentioned in the defense motions? Oh, sorry.
The
Wait.
day,
There we go.
the day that was filed, because every day I was pulling, checking the court docket, pulling, documents, and it
So
was,
you saw it yourself before you heard about it from anybody else.
I was like,
You
what
got the daily
the?
document dump. You open up the document, you get to page 4, and you see this.
Yeah,
What goes through your mind at that point?
I was very upset. What some people in your chat that do follow me know, are aware of this. I had developed TMJ.
Oh,
Yeah, in November, due to the stress of this trial.
I
That
may suffer myself occasionally. So,
that made it worse for me, but more importantly, even though I knew what was being said in those court documents were totally fabricated. I mean, 100% fabricated. It still looked bad. And I was worried. I really, truly was worried. Is a judge going to believe this nonsense? What do I have to do? What effect is this going to have on the family? I mean, yeah, it was, I
well, at
had
this
all
point, it was the
kinds.
first you've just seen yourself mentioned once. Were you kind of like, "Hey, I'm in the brief. I got mentioned. This is cool." Was it there
No,
was none of that, not even for a second, not even like a,
not
"Hey, look at
not for a
me."
nanosecond. I started contacting folks right away saying, look, here's
Well,
this
I mean, right
document.
now we're just talking about the first time you see your name mentioned here, just as a social media influencer closely linked to the plaintiffs.
Yeah,
And before you saw anything else in the document, you're like, "Hey, this is kind of cool."
no,
Okay.
no,
I probably
that's
would
the
like
truth.
the first time I probably would have thought, "Hey, they think I'm a social media influencer. This is kind of cool." I made a
Well,
brief.
that part, yes, I got a chuckle out of that because I don't consider myself a social media
Yeah.
influencer. And I was like, this dude needs to, do his homework. But
So
no,
you've seen yourself mentioned once. I guess you in what you said, and then suddenly, 2 pages later, on October 30th, 2023, Ms. Lengill physically attended the trial proceedings in this case, where her husband was impaneled as juror number 1. Juror number 1 said nothing of her presence. Prior to appearance, Ms. Lengill sought out Jules, who was demonstrably embedded with the plaintiffs and served as their public advocate, if not de facto agent, both at trial and subsequent to the verdict. I would guess this is the second time you see this. This is probably where your mood changed.
highly so. I want to make it really clear. I did not know who she was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, for the record, and anybody that was following me knows that juror number 1, I thought was juror number 7. Okay. So I didn't even know his number correctly. All right. The entire trial, I refer to him as number 7. So there's
Okay.
that. And the photo that was included, I believe it was in this motion.
Yeah, we'll get to the photo there. Well,
Okay.
what about this? What about juror number 1's wife seeking you out on her
That's
day in court?
that is entirely not true.
What happened?
Oh, okay.
Because as you said, there's the photograph. You're sitting right there with her. How did that happen, Jules?
Okay. This is exactly how it happened. I always got to court early, and I would save a seat for my seatmate, Alicia, her husband would bring her into court. They would stop at D&D, get coffee, and bring me a coffee every morning. so I was in there early, and there's a woman I haven't seen before. I sat there. Now the picture is very deceiving. It makes it look like we were a lot closer than when we were. I would say there was probably 2 to 3 feet between us. And she's like, hi, how are you? I said, fine, thank you. How are you? And I said, I haven't seen you before. Is this your first time? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, you were smart wearing that jacket. It's freezing in here. That basically was the extent of the conversation, because there's other photos that they neglected to put out there. Because when Alicia got there, I got up and moved to the next row, and I sat with my seatmate Alicia, and I did not sit with the woman who I now know is juror number 1's wife. And I did not sit with her for the rest of the day. She was pretty much by herself.
So how long would you say you sat next to her total?
Probably under 10 minutes, more than 5, but under 10.
Wow. It's like not even for an hour, not even for a morning session.
No, I moved and sat with my friend Alicia. Alicia and I sat together every day. People that were in that courtroom will tell you, Dr. Corcoran knows, everyone knows that where Jules was, Alicia was there. Where Alicia was, Jules, we had lunch together, restroom breaks together. We did everything together. There were times when we even drove back and forth to court together. So no.
Okay, so she didn't seek you out. Like, Jules, where are you? I have to sit by you, Jules. That never happened.
That didn't happen.
Okay.
No, but there was a break where we were a bunch of us were together, and she did acknowledge who I was. She said, I listened to you on Recovery Addict. And I was like, oh, but everybody was saying that. Oh, I've seen you chat in Law and Lumber. I heard you on, and they would come. But Jeff, when I tell you, I probably met in excess of 100 people, and I talked to everyone, and I don't remember. And I honestly did not remember this whole thing until this happened.
Okay, so you weren't demonstratively embedded with the plaintiffs.
No, not at all.
What about serving as their public advocate? You said you served as their public advocate. You were the voice they couldn't use, so they used you to forward their agenda. Did they?
Let me explain something. No one in that courtroom, defense, plaintiffs, the family, knew who I was. They did not know that I had a TikTok. They didn't know. They knew nothing. As far as they knew, I was just a public person.
Busybody, talking to everybody.
Pretty much. Now, you want to know how this all unfolded. I will tell you. During a lunch break, Ethan Shapiro was outside giving an interview to Court TV and to local news stations. I was standing there and I was listening, and I caught him in a bold-faced lie.
What was that?
The question was, did you ever make a settlement offer? Did you ever try to settle this case? His answer emphatically was, no, we never offered a settlement. There is no way we would offer a settlement. It was our idea to take this to trial because every mandatory reporter is at stake, not just here in Florida, but across the country. I
And we
knew
came to
that.
find out they did make those offers. Yeah.
I knew that to be a lie. So that night I came home, pulled the 2 settlement offers. Now, of course, there's no amount or anything on it. It's just, the notice.
Yeah.
And I pulled the most recent one, which was July 2023, just mere months before this trial started. And I posted it twice on my TikTok. The settlement offer, his statement, and said he's lying to you. And I did it because no one from the media, which I found so surprising, questioned him. And if you are in the media, and you're especially our local media, which really told me a lot, that you weren't looking at documents, how could you not know that that was a lie? So that was the reason that I did that. Okay. And so it was probably within a few days, the mood and the atmosphere coming from the defense towards my
Well, you're so you're starting to draw fire by doing that. Adara the Wholesome, thank you so much for the first super chat of the evening. I hate having like engaging guests on, because people get so wrapped up in paying attention and listening that they don't send super chats.
Sorry.
It's all your fault for being engaging and interesting. Adara the Wholesome with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Love the fantasy of J Hatch calling Jeff for questioning due to this stream, because he would politely crucify them. What would you do and say? See, I don't know. I'm sort of a situational thing. I don't really plan burns and jokes and things. I sort of impromptu react to the situation. I would probably see how many times I could use the word douche canoe before the judge yelled at me. I would probably be a little irreverent and express my exasperation at the situation. But it wouldn't let me wear a hat in court. So
yeah, you wouldn't be able to wear a hat. Only one time did I express physically, because the entire trial I was very well behaved in that courtroom. I did not do or say anything inside that courtroom to cause any issues, because I know what the repercussions would be. But there was one incident where my mouth literally hit the floor, and that's at the end of near the end of the trial, when the plaintiffs wanted to submit that glorious video of the head dude talking to all the employees, saying what a wonderful job we did in taking care of Maya. And when Hunter made an innuendo, that video may have come from Samantha Lawrence's husband, who was a former employee of that hospital. Yes, I had a visible, like, what the fuck? Sorry. I'm sorry. I was like, that was the only time that ever happened. Yeah.
Well, what about this? You served as their public advocate, if not de facto agent. You act as where would this come from? Are they is this just completely being pulled out of their ass?
It was. And later, maybe a few days after this dropped, I was alerted by people that it in fact came from Reddit. And I was like, wow.
Well, Ms. Lengel and Jules exchanged personal phone numbers. How would they know this?
Again,
that was always my question. How would they know that you guys swapped phone numbers?
Well, I think how that came about is Hippo Lover, who was in the chat, who, and I want to make it really clear, she never in the chats or the day she was in court never identified herself as being a juror, let alone my juror number 7, who turned out to be juror number 1's wife. She never disclosed that. Now, did we message back and forth in chat during Law and Lumber? Yeah, we did. But again, I didn't know who she was. And it was like, I did that with everyone. Could she have given me her phone number? It's possible. I don't know, because I had a stack, and I'm not exaggerating. And if Alicia was here, she would tell you a stack of numbers. Well, I'm exaggerating, like that much of a stack, but some of them, people gave me names and numbers, which I wrote in the margins of my notepad. People from one woman flew in from Texas. I don't remember these people's names. So
Sorry, woman from Texas, if you're watching.
I know. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember. There's a lot of people I met. So many people. There were people from Recovery Addicts chat there. There were people from Law and Lumber's chat that was there. There were people from the CRPS community that was there. There were people, the day Maya testified, that courtroom was packed, that they had to open up an overflow room because people that, and I'm going to call them survivors and not victims, but survivors of Sally Smith and Kathy Beatty, were present in that courtroom. Some of them that participated in the documentary. I talked to everyone, and they're like, can I have your number? And we can talk more, I, especially that day I went to lunch. We went to lunch with 18 people.
Wow.
That were subjected to Sally Smith and Kathy Beatty, and I heard all their stories. So is it possible? Yes. Did I know who she was? Again, no. Did she know who I was? Well, obviously she did. But she never disclosed for a moment who she was.
Well, we have to say hi to X-Ray Girls Raiders. X-Ray Girl, thank you for the raid again. That's the second one in about a week. Thank you so very much, everybody. Welcome. If any of you if any of you followed the Maya Kowalski trial or saw the Take Care of Maya documentary on Netflix, and are in any way familiar with the defense, with the hospital's efforts to have their jury verdict overturned, we have with us Jules. Jules became a lightning rod for the hospital's efforts to prove jury misconduct. So we've got her on here today to talk about her own personal involvement in this, to set the record straight, to look at what the defense is arguing that she did, and she's telling us what actually happened. So everybody for coming over from X-Ray Girl, welcome. Thank you so much. Deeply, deeply appreciate it. Welcome. Hit the like button while you're here. Hit the subscribe button. Give me a chance. We got 429 people here watching now and 327 likes. That's great. And make sure you take our like and subscribe poll, which is lame as hell today. Just did you hit the like and subscribe? 62% said yes, 6% said no. Shame on you, 6%. Do it anyway, damn it. And this is a stupid poll, but I liked it anyway. Those are your options. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, and join the conversation. And if you have any questions for me or for Jules, please feel free to ask. We'll try to hit the ones in chat, but super chats guarantee they get read and noticed. So there we go. Let's get back into this. Welcome, Raiders again. We'll say that one more time. So you may have exchanged numbers, which I assume you've actually done, because and now Okay. You and juror number one's wife made plans days in advance to meet in the courtroom prior to the hearing. Prior to the hearing, you made these plans days in advance to meet in the courtroom.
That's just simply not true. I mean, what's true is there were people from both Recovery Addict and Law and Lumber that was local. Some were not local, but saying on such and such day, I'm going to be, in the courtroom. Can't wait to meet you. And I type back, yeah, hit me up, blah, blah, blah. Do I know these people? No. No. Where is the crime there? There is none. There was, I had, and it was shown to me screenshots of where that was said. And yeah, I was like, looking forward to meeting you. I didn't know who she was.
Okay. So that is one of the true statements that you made. Well, I don't know. It sounds like you didn't necessarily make plans days in advance to meet. You just said, all right, we'll see you there.
Yeah. Like I did to every other person that was in the chat that says, I'm driving down an hour and a half, or I'm 2 hours away. Or like I said, the lady from Texas, she was in the chat. She's like, I'm flying in from Texas for 3 days. I was like, good, can't wait to meet you.
Well, and again, I mean, reading through this, when I read through this on my stream, this motion, pretty much every sentence finished with, so what? So what? They said they'd see each other in court. So what if this is happening? Now to make, I know everybody probably knows this already. Yes, juror number one's wife was only in court one day. You are correct, Linz. This is the same one the same day they're talking about. They're just mentioning it again. Now, just to make clear, and I know most people know the answer. The judge never said, people out there watching, people that are in court, do not put anything about this trial on social media. You were under no orders, no rules, no restrictions, because hey, that would be against the Constitution. That would be an unconstitutional order. You're not placed under oath. You're not sequestered. Nothing. You're free to say and do whatever the hell you want.
Correct.
All right. Correct. So you were never put under oath. The judge never said, now I don't want you or anyone else talking about this case to anybody.
Never. So, never happened.
Which is why most every sentence in this motion that deals with what happened is, so what? So what if they exchanged phone numbers? So what if they said they'd see each other in court? Marilyn, see, there are no updates. There's still, I think there's still another.
There is something that was filed, and I don't understand what it means. So yeah, when we get done with this, I'm going to ask you a legal question.
Okay. What? Because I think the next thing is supposed to be filed is the motion is some agreement with their mandatory mediation and the sanctions. Figure out how to do sanctions and costs.
But that has not been filed yet. But what was filed last week, and I don't understand what this is, where defense filed what's called a stay of execution.
Oh, okay.
And unopposed by the plaintiffs. And my question is, and the judge granted it. And my question is, does that stop the clock ticking on the interest?
No. That my understanding is no.
Okay.
That's my understanding. It's wait, the defense filed the motion for a stay of execution.
Yes.
Oh, I want to see that because
I'll send it to you.
It would be normally. Yeah, okay, no. You're right. It would be the defense that would file it. What that is essentially saying is, please, because ordinarily if you get the judgment, you can enforce it immediately, regardless of the appeals. So we'll look at it a little bit later. But I'm presuming it's saying don't let them execute the $261 million judgment against us until the appeal is worked out or something to that effect. That would be my guess. But we'll look at it later if we've got some time.
Okay.
And if not, I'll just do a whole stream on it.
Well, I will send it to you so you have it.
Yeah, I can get it from the court too.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, then I'll get out of there.
All right. So you didn't necessarily make the plans to meet in advance.
No.
But if we look at the very next sentence, Ms. L can be seen in video footage in the courtroom for the entire day, often seated next to and speaking with Jules. There's 3 slides they showed. You're saying it was a total of about 15 minutes, less than 10 minutes.
More than 5, less than 10. Yeah.
Total for the whole day.
That I recall correct, because again, there's a photo that they show of her all by herself. And nobody on either side of her anywhere. And hence, that's because I'm sitting in the other row next to my seatmate, Alicia, who I didn't know before this either. And her and I became very close, and we are very close friends now because of this.
Well, now the next sentence is the birth of the nickname, the birth of the moniker. Where did it go? Here we are. Right here. For her part, Jules became notorious in the online communities that covered the trial because she not only physically attended each day of trial, but also provided regular updates on her social media platforms, such as TikTok and YouTube. You became notorious in the online communities. I don't think he understands what notorious means.
Yeah. And that was a bitter pill for me to swallow. I had a really rough time with that, because
that was going to be my next question: is how is your mood changing, and where are you at this point?
I've learned, and thank you, Dr. Joe Courtroom, because I know you're watching. I've learned to embrace it. I've learned.
I'd be selling merch. I'd be leaning so far into that.
I was offended at first, and it was a bitter pill for me to swallow, because in my eyes, it was a negative connotation towards me. So I was extremely offended, and it was upsetting, and obviously, it's been 2 months or better since that took place. So yeah, I've learned to embrace it. So anybody wants to say there's notorious, Jules, have at it. I don't care anymore.
Hey, I'd lean into that. I would make merch. I would put T-shirts and coffee mugs, and
why? It's over. We're moving on to the next phase. This is over. So it's like, what do you call it? 15 minutes of fame, but it really wasn't 15 minutes. It was like 3.
Because it's fun. That's why you do things. That was me. Somebody, I can't even remember where I was or what I was doing, but I was on someone's stream, and like, who is this law racks looking mother effer, and attempting to insult me, and I went, oh, that's funny. And you gotta lean into it. Now you got all the merch and everything like that. Yeah, I would just embrace it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dr. Corcoran, because we spoke, and he made me realize that this is not a bad thing. Just embrace it. It is what it is.
The more you resist and complain about it, the more people use it, because they know it gets under the skin. So if you go, yeah, that's me. I'm the notorious Jules. I love it. It kind of reminds me of like the Three Amigos. Infamous. What is it's like famous, but it's infamous. It's kind of reminded me of that whole thing. It's like torious, but it's notorious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, bus stop jury. Yeah. So they just like insulting everybody, you know.
Yeah, that I found really insulting to, uh, the 12 jurors that gave their time for 9 weeks, 9
Yeah.
plus weeks actually, and, to refer to them as bus stop. I mean, other people have said that that's not a negative thing. I took it again as a negative
Well,
connotation
they meant
toward,
it as a negative thing, clearly.
yeah.
Just as like stupid, ignorant people. Well, I mean, because my torts professor, he just referred to juries as the case might be, either the 6 or the 12 ignorant slobs. You think that's the jury? You for 1/3 of the recovery, what argument are you making to the 12 ignorant slobs or the 6 ignorant slobs? But you say it jokingly in a classroom, or you say it in court and put it in motions. That's a little different.
Yeah.
So I mean, at this point, your blood pressure was probably skyrocketing. I would imagine it became notorious in the online communities.
Yeah. And the backlash, Jeff. I
Okay,
got
that's one thing I hadn't thought. Okay, what? Tell us about the backlash.
the backlash was horrendous,
From
and it was
who and from where?
everywhere. It was everywhere. It was in uh, people's other YouTube channels chat that was covering this particular motion. Um, People were taking screenshot because I do not participate with Reddit. That's just a
Mhm.
toxic place. But they would take screenshots and send it to me. Some of my TikTok videos, like if I did a live, people were taking uh, screenshots of it or clips of it and using it elsewhere, saying terrible things. I mean, people said, "Well, how does it feel now, Jules? You just threw out a $260 million verdict on this family. How does it feel?" I mean, like they were just saying horrible, vicious
Wait,
things.
so the like Maya supporters were giving backlash to you too?
Listen, I don't know. I'm not going to say it was Maya supporters. I don't know who
Hmm.
they were, but they were like, how does it
Wow.
feel? Like you just effed up this trial. This is all going to be, reversed. How does it feel, Jewel? You caused the mistrial. Yeah, it was bad. And I was mentally upset. I was destroyed. I was despondent because, when you hear something enough of times,
Yeah.
you start to believe it. And then I started feeling like, did I do something? I started second guessing myself. Did I do
Mm.
something wrong? Is this going to happen? Uh, you know,
Wow.
I was, yeah, it was not pretty. It was not pretty.
I mean, from what I saw, as far as LawTube and LawTube adjacent people, like Megan Fox, people like, I mean, people were universally sympathetic towards you, but there was a lot that I guess we weren't seeing because we don't normally hang around with like the wine box mom crew and the cat moms and the Reddit and Discord dens of iniquity. So
Yeah.
you're taking a lot of it.
Yeah. And it was difficult. And I kept thinking to myself, if I'm feeling this way, what is this family feeling? How is this affecting them? Like it was bad.
Did you ever hire a lawyer at any point in this?
I did not. Um, I did not hire a lawyer. I did, full disclosure, I spoke to several of the LawTube community and was reassured that at this particular point in time, you know, I did nothing wrong. There was no
Yeah,
reason for me to have a
yeah.
lawyer and, just move on. And that's what I did. And what's someone said to me that if they really thought that you did something untowards in this trial, believe me, you would have been getting a subpoena.
Oh yeah.
I never received a subpoena. So that tells me that Howard Hunter and Ethan Shapiro knew darn well I did nothing wrong, and that this was some big, I don't know what their purpose was in doing this. I really don't. But I never want to get caught up in
Were
something
you
like
too
that.
stressed to see the humor in all of this and enjoy the people that were making fun of the defense?
I was way too stressed. I did not find
Oh,
anything humorous about it at all. I no, I found it offensive because I knew that I behaved correctly in that courtroom and outside of that courtroom and at all times. Um, and I knew that this was just a bunch of BS. But no, I did not. Can I see the humor in it now? I can, now that it's over. You know, I mean, I realize that there's appeals going on and stuff, but
yeah.
I'm not going to be, whatever an appeals court decides has got nothing to do with me. But so I can see the humor now, and I think, well, they're a bunch of dopes, like.
Well, have you seen any of the memes that Megan Fox's locals have made throughout this trial?
I have.
Are
I
they
have
funny? Are
seen.
they funny now?
Yes, they are funny now.
Because they were hilarious at the
Yeah,
time to us, but we weren't. Well, Megan got an honorable mention in the in the
yes.
affidavit. Uh,
Yeah, I think they found, no, the memes are funny. And listen, I even think Judge Carroll appreciated the memes as well. I
yeah,
mean, in one of his responses, I can't remember which one, he made reference to the
yeah,
tough, so
yeah. And
yeah.
I mean, I've even changed it from saying sweet baby Jesus to sweet baby dumpster Jesus now. Uh, but
Yeah.
I mean, they were funny to us, but like I mean, I was unfortunately yet fortunately not mentioned. I didn't get my honorable mention in the
Believe me,
affidavits. 'Cause I flew under the radar, but
you
I'm
didn't
very
want it.
happy. No,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you say it would have been funny, but yeah, I'm pretty glad it wasn't. There was nothing about me mentioned. I'm I'm too small time for that. But well, I guess that's kind of another question.
Go ahead.
And I forgot what it was.
Then it wasn't very
Where
important.
where you saw the memes and you said no, is it funny? No. Uh, nope, can't remember. Completely gone. No way
When
it's
it
ever
comes
coming
down,
back.
it might. You never know.
It might, but if it does, I won't remember it. Let's see. Share the personal. All right, let's get back to the document. Dang it, what was that? I had a question. Oh well, that's what I get for just doing these discussion things and not writing out a script of a list of questions to ask. I find that boring. All right, where did the highlighting go? Let's just do this all over again. F. We got to go back a little ways, I guess. Right. Even publicly shared photographs. Oh god. Oh, now we're getting into the social media stuff. All right. Oh, where have we gone? These video shares. All right. How far back do we have to go? Aha. That's where you become notorious in the online community. Jules also shared her personal conversations with the Kowalski family, as well as her observations in the courtroom regarding the jury. Again, so what? Uh, that's something you're
Well,
allowed to do.
that's partially true. It's not entirely true. I
Okay.
shared I shared personal conversations with the family in regards to myself, not
Mhm.
in regards to the trial, the content of the trial, or my observations
Mhm.
of the jury, or my observations of what I was putting on TikTok, and the family was not aware at the time that I even had a TikTok.
So yeah, I didn't see what the personal conversations with the Kowalski family were that you had posted. It was just your interaction with them.
Correct. And full disclosure, and I, in the beginning, I did not discuss it, but I have recently discussed it. I had told Jack my background and why I felt, as I was in court and as things were coming out, and things about Beata, and I started to draw a personal connection between my background and what happened. I mean, I'm not saying exactly, but Maya was a child when Beata self-deleted. I was a preteen when my dad self-deleted. So there was that. Beata was trying to find out what was wrong with her daughter. I was trying to find out what was wrong with my son. And in my case, it happened, in the late 70s. So, in my day, the things that I did, yeah, people thought I was nuts, but I would never have been accused of, Munchausen by proxy or anything, of that nature, or somebody trying to take my kid away. So, but these were things that I talked to him about that I did not disclose publicly. I intimated about having personal conversations, but I always said, and they were personal. Yes, I have had conversations with the family, and they are personal, and I am not going to discuss it. They were personal on my behalf, not on the family's behalf. I confided in the family my background, that I came and told you about my life this morning.
And Therese Majestic says, "Oh, you're the famous Jules. The roller coaster I just went on in my brain, realizing you're the same awesome person who's the backbone of Lewis's team."
Thank you for that. Yes, there's no denying that I was in a very bad place 2 years ago. I went through a traumatic divorce, the 27-year bad marriage, and the whole Johnny Depp trial struck a nerve with me. And yes, I was watching Louis Lecca of Nerd Report started calling in and then started appearing on his channel. And I grew as a person and as an individual, and because of Louis Lecca, and I will be forever grateful to the support that he had shown me. Absolutely. He's a great guy. And, if you've never seen Nerd Report and you like pop culture and all other kinds of stuff, go check him out.
Louis is a good guy.
Yeah.
Therese Majestic says, we've been seeing Jules getting referenced in so many documents. I can't believe I'm just making the connection now. Well, you made the connection.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so you've shared personal conversations as well as observations in the courtroom regarding the jury. So what? We all did. We all made our own personal comments on observations, whether you're making them from inside the courtroom or outside the courtroom. It doesn't matter. Not a bit. Doesn't matter in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. And it's apparent from these videos that Jules shares a close relationship with Jack and Maya Kowalski, making their friendship with Ms. L all the more inappropriate. Again, I don't know why that makes it inappropriate to be friends with lots of people. But, I mean, you did develop somewhat of a close relationship with the Kowalskis. Not that there's a damn thing wrong with that. But
yeah, I mean, they are a likable, relatable family. They're very kind and generous with their time. If you needed to ask a question, if they weren't, in the middle of doing something with their attorneys or whatever, just standing, outside waiting upon entrance into the courtroom. Uh, and how you doing? I'm doing good. How are you? I know I've been seeing, you're here every day. Thank you so much for your support. I mean, they just, yeah, I'm not going to lie. I grew to admire the strength of this family. I actually met Maya for the first time, and this is a funny story. It's a fun fact of what happened in the restroom. I was done. I opened up the stall door. There's a person. I had no clue that it was Maya. There's a person there. I didn't even realize that there was a person there. I opened up the door because I didn't want to be late to fly out of the stall. And I literally, I practically knocked this girl over, and I grabbed her shoulder because, we both kind of went forward, and I grabbed her shoulders. And when she turned around, I realized, oh my God, this is Maya Kowalski. And I was like, Maya, I'm so sorry. And had it been anybody else, they probably would have been like, you really, like you had to come out of there like a stormtrooper. She was kind and she was sweet, and she was like, oh, it's okay. And, we chatted for a few moments, and, we're at the sink washing our hands. We leave, and Jack and Kyle are outside of the restrooms. And I made a comment to my friend Alicia, how I said, I didn't realize she was as tiny as she is. And Maya heard me, and she turned around, and I can't remember her exact comment, but I remember saying, no, I don't mean that in a bad way, but and when I saw the interaction between father and daughter and brother and sister, and I admired it. And during breaks, they always accompanied her. They stood out. They waited for her. It's a loving family. And yeah.
So somehow they're saying that, oh, you weaseled your way into the Kowalskis, or they blessed you with their presence. However they're trying to say this, they're saying that somehow your relationship with the Kowalskis makes your friendship with juror number one's wife even more appropriate, sort of putting you in the middle. You're the conduit through which all improper communications flow, or something along those lines. That had to be a little aggravating, I would imagine.
Yeah, it was, because, juror number one's, who I thought was 7 prior to the verdict. Well, actually, prior to, I found out he was juror number 1 when they wanted to get rid of him. That's when I found out his real number.
So right at the end.
Right at the end. Like I said, unbeknownst to me, I didn't know who she was. She never disclosed who she was. And here we are, better than 2 months out from this. And go ahead, ask me if I've ever met her.
Have you ever met her?
No.
Okay.
No. No. Haven't met
her. But you have given Maya Kowalski your rosary beads.
I did.
Prior to Maya's testimony that day. So again, what people have to remember, I mean, I know everybody knows this, but just in case somebody's been living under a rock and they're just watching this wondering what's going on, this is the defense. This is the hospital's lawyer who is demanding a new trial based on juror number 1's misconduct. And somehow Jules giving her rosary to Maya is somehow misconduct by juror number 1. I still don't understand what this has to do with any of it. I mean, I don't get it.
I don't understand it either. And people again made it sound like I was doing something nefarious by getting her. As I told you in the beginning, my background is I come from a very strict Italian Catholic family. The Kowalskis are very, very religious, and we are of the same belief. I'm sitting here right now, okay, with my hand rosary. This is and no, this is not the one. Obviously, I gave.
You gave her a full rosary.
I gave her a full rosary, but this is with me at all times. This is what brings me comfort, and this is what brings me, release of stress. I have panic attacks and anxiety, and listen, not everyone believes, and that's fine. Everybody is entitled to their own religious beliefs or non-religious beliefs, but this is mine.
You do, and she does.
And she does. And in 2007, when I made a visit to my homeland in Italy, and we had an appointment and a prearranged appointment to meet with Pope Benedict at the time.
Wow.
I had a religious bracelet and the rosary that was blessed by Pope Benedict. Wow. So I went to Jack, and I was not giving her the rosary. For the record, that was a spontaneous thing that happened. What I was giving her was the special healing bracelet. It was a holy bracelet. It was surrounded by the saints. It had a crucifix on it. And like I said, I had it blessed by Pope Benedict in 2007. I went to Jack out in the hall, and I spoke to him, and I explained, I said, I have this bracelet. I would love to gift it to her. Is that okay with you? Because keep in mind, Maya was still a minor. She was 17 years old, and I was never going to approach the child without a parent's permission. And he said to me, she would love that. She would absolutely love that. And I said, I will bring it on Monday or whatever day it was. And he started to walk away, and he stopped, and he turned around and he said, I appreciate you asking permission. And I said, no problem. So that evening I got the bracelet out. I had everything ready, get everything ready the night before, because I would leave early to go to court. And that morning when I was leaving, my rosary was sitting on the table, and I picked it up and I brought it with me, and I got to the courthouse, and Jack was going to testify first. And I said, now I had already given the bracelet to Maya, and she put it on. She goes, can I wear it now? And I was like, of course. And, she put it on. And Jack and I had my rosary, and it didn't enter my mind until that very moment, Jeff. Jack was going to testify. And I went, Jack, and I reached in my pocket and I said, here's my rosary. This was blessed by Pope Benedict as well. I slipped it in his suit pocket. I said, this is for strength and comfort. He said, thank you. And he testified. And after that was all over, there was a break. Obviously, we used the restroom. When I came out, Jack and Kyle were there, and I said, you did very well, Jack. And he said, and he went just like this. And he said, that's because I had God on my side. And he pat his suit pocket. And he said, oh, and before I forget, let me give it back to you. So he gave me my rosary, and Maya had come out, and she was unaware that Dad had it in his pocket. So I looked at her. I said, kiddo, you want to put it in your pocket? And she was, yeah. So she put it in her pocket. How on God's green earth was I supposed to know at the end of her testimony, when it was time for juror questions, that one of the questions from the juror, and I might add, we found out after the trial was over, it was not juror number 1 who asked the question. But how was I supposed to know that a juror was going to ask her to carry rosary? And Maya says, I have one in my pocket right now. To me,
well, there was a lot of Catholics on the jury.
Yes.
And I would assume the stories of junking the Eucharist didn't go over very well with the jurors.
Some of them, no. Some of them were like, they would, like, their first instinct was this, and then they would begin to write, and then they would begin to pay more attention to that testimony. And then when the questions came in, it was like, it was no offense, Greg Anderson, if you're watching, but some of the jury questions were better than yours. Yeah.
You're a very generous and giving. The only thing that anyone ever gave me was I picked up a hitchhiker once when I was, I think, about 18, 19. And apparently he didn't like my driving, because when he got out, he gave me his St. Christopher's medallion. He said, you need this more than I do. And he got out of the car. That's the only time anybody ever gave me anything. Gave me St. Christopher's. Said, you need this more than I do.
When each one of my kids got their driver's license and got their own car, they each got a St. Christopher medal that is on their visor. Yes.
People that don't know, he's the patron saint of travelers. So apparently the guy just thought he was a really shitty driver. Because the guy's hitchhiking the highway said, I need it more than he does. So yeah, that's the only thing anybody's ever given me. So.
Yeah, sorry. I'll have to send you something.
Let's see. 2 days later, you called the Recovery Addict YouTube's live stream covering the trial, stating that you texted Maya over the weekend. So what? Okay. My blood pressure is going up again, the way it was when I went through this the first time. So what? What the hell does this have to do with juror number 1? So what?
Yeah, I texted her.
Well, this demonstrates that you're more than just a public observer of the trial, but an active participant and de facto agent for the plaintiffs. That's ridiculous. You even shared public photographs. You've publicly shared photographs of yourself with plaintiff experts. Well, right now, we've been talking on my channel about the Murdoch trial because I had a hearing 2 days ago. I've got a bunch of pictures that people have sent me of them with Murdoch's lawyers, Dick Harpootlian, and then the other, and it's court TV staff, and what does this have to do with anything? How does you going, look who I took a picture with? I mean, my God, all the pictures of the people took with Ben Shue and Camille during the Depp trial. Everybody on earth except me apparently has a picture with them. So that's what you do. It's like, oh my God, look who I met today.
Well, the pictures of Chanley Painter from Court TV and that's nothing new. I've known her for about 10 years, so that was nothing new. But all the other pictures, yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah, I mean, so somehow you saying, look who I met today in court.
Yeah.
means you're an agent for the plaintiffs. And let's even say you are an agent for the plaintiff. Let's just say, okay, for the sake of argument, you are an agent for the plaintiff. Still, so what? What does this have to do with juror number one? It's like two or three layers of who gives a crap.
Listen, I don't even know what this de facto agent means anyway for the plaintiff. I mean, it's ludicrous when they said about, or I don't know if it was in the motion or if it came from a Reddit post or whatever, but that, okay, supposedly juror number one spoke to his wife spoke to me, I spoke to Jack in turn would ask me to find whatever out, then I would go to the wife and the wife would go to, it was like this crazy train that never happened ever.
And we're only 7 pages into this. There's still 7 times to go. You've just got to be freaking out at this point reading through.
I was. Yes, I was.
Like you're saying earlier, why am I in this? And second guessing yourself, what have I done? Kind of a thing. When there's nothing, you should be worried about. But you don't know that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, statements like this are just so ludicrous. In light of Jules' intimate relationship with and bias in favor of plaintiffs, the development of an alignment, if not friendship, between Jules and juror number one's wife is alarming. Why? Now, I mean, if they said that you had some alignment or relationship with juror number one, that might make me go, okay, maybe this needs to be looked into, but it wasn't even that.
I know.
Somehow you've got a friendship with juror number one's wife, and that's alarming. But Shapiro hasn't mentioned that his wife was in court, and he has a direct I bet he's even sleeping with her. He was sleeping with someone in the court.
The wife was in court several times, and during closing arguments, the wife was there with their 2 sons.
So I would imagine that at least one of the defense teams, he was sleeping with someone with a pro defense bias that was in courtroom. That didn't seem to make any of the affidavits.
No, but the counter affidavits, the responses to these motions from Greg was priceless.
Greg's responses were fantastic.
Yeah.
And this is the sentence that set everything off, I think, as far as the hilarity goes. The fact that the jury foreman's wife, with whom he resided during the course of the 9-week trial, they're trying to make it somehow nefarious that juror number one was living with his wife.
And here's the part. Also, no one knew who the jury foreman was. Okay, no one knew that juror number one, again, who for 9 weeks I thought was juror number 7, was even an actual juror and not an alternate. At least we in the gallery, the attorneys obviously knew, but until they tried to get him off, that's when it became public knowledge that he was juror number 1 and he was an actual juror. Okay. But at that time, they weren't even deliberating it. The case hadn't even been given to him yet. No one knew he was the jury foreman when all of this said suspicious crap that they threw out there.
I mean, we don't need to go through the next, however long that was it 42 pages, 46 pages, something like that? We don't need to go through the next 38, 39 pages because it repeats everything that's been repeated over and over again throughout about how close you are. And again, makes no sense at all. But I mean, how? And by the way, people, we got about 15 minutes left. So if there's anything you want to ask, now is the time to do it again. Super chat's the best way to do it, but you can still do it here in chat and just spin the lottery wheel to see if I'll notice it. But how has your life changed since then?
Well, what people don't know is that I was going through a 21-month battle with my ex-husband, a legal battle with my ex-husband. And yes, I was acting pro se, Jeff. Yes, it's civil. I was doing, hey, listen, I wrote my own motions. I wrote my own responses. Just want to tell you.
Well, I'm glad you still have a roof over your head, apparently.
Well, I rent this place. No, we lost everything in our divorce. Yeah. But
lawyers are the only ones that win.
And they did. And the initial divorce, $18,000. I don't know what his was, but mine was $18,000. I was bled dry. No real estate, no nothing that I could, So I did it myself. And I'm happy to report, even though you Reddit people thought you were going to destroy me and take me down by putting all my personal stuff out there, I'm here to say I won the case. December 21st. The judge ruled in my favor. So there you have it.
Well,
so
good.
Up until that point, I was a wreck. I'm great now. I'm just, I'm good. And do I keep in touch? The only people that I keep in touch with that I met through the trial is my friend Alicia. And then Dr. Joe Corcoran. Oh, and also, though, we do need to address one thing before you go. And that's where the defense said, when they were looking to get rid of juror number 1, that Jack Kowalski turned around and looked at me.
Yeah. He made eye contact with you and gave you a nod or a thumbs up or did something because apparently you and him were sending messages. Yes, we got to keep this guy.
Yeah. Well, let me just tell you that the screenshot that the defense supplied to the judge was just of Jack like this. Okay. No full context at all. And thankfully, in the plaintiff's response, they provided the full picture. Jack Kowalski was not looking at me. Okay. Sitting next to me was Dr. Scott Richards, who played an active role for the plaintiffs in all aspects. And when Greg took that piece that the defense did and actually went back to get the shot and pulled the full shot, here, my notebook, here I am. My head's, I'm not even looking. He's looking at Scott Richards, who's sitting like 2 feet from me.
So even if he had been looking at you, you wouldn't have seen him looking at you because you were taking notes.
I was taking notes. Yeah. So the lies and the deceit that this, defense has gone to, and basing it off of Reddit conspiracy theories is kind of sad. But do I keep in touch with the family? I do. We don't speak every day, but yes, I obviously, I keep in touch.
I was going to say, has all of this post-trial shenanigans, I would imagine that has sort of kind of all brought you together as victims of circumstance more than you ever would have if this just would have been a verdict and everybody walks their separate ways.
You can't imagine the tears that I cried for weeks over all of when the defense started this stuff with the motions. And, again, Dr. Corcoran is who I leaned on at that time. And the online community had me convinced that I did something wrong and I was going to cause a mistrial and was going to cause everything to blow up in this family's face. And even though attorneys, law to whatever, no, 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 my brain, it was not computing up there. It was here in my heart, and I was heartbroken. Yeah.
So, I mean, do you think if this just would have ended normally, you wouldn't have had any further contact with anybody involved in it, or?
Yeah. Yeah. I would have just moved on to the, the next thing that sparked my interest. And, I was kind of gun shy because, I attended every hearing for the Petito versus Laundries. I even interviewed Pat Riley, the Petito's attorney, and I interviewed Matt Luca, who is the former attorney for the Laundries. So I was at every hearing, and then when this all happened, it was like I almost very closely was like, I don't think I'm going to be going to that trial in May because I don't want to bring any untoward attention.
Well, that was my next question. Are you going to hang up your hat?
For a while there, it was that my answer to you would have been yes. But today, sitting here with you, not on your life.
What's coming up next? Where do you have your eye on any particular trial? You got in Florida? There, you got the Courtney Clenny, the OnlyFans murder trial coming up, and
yeah, and we have the retrial of the Treehouse murders down in the Keys. So I may go down for I can't spend a lot of time there because that's a 5-hour drive for me. I was hoping we were going to start court for Sarah Boone, but that's a negative.
That's gonna be
because that
March, you got the YNW Melly rapper double murder retrial coming up in the 17th district.
I'm going, okay, because
I'm telling you right now that I'm the only one that covered the first trial, and I'm covering the retrial, so you can be the woman in court.
Okay, but I don't know though if now I was not there for the first trial, but I did watch every moment of it. And you may disagree with me, but I thought the jury got it correct. I don't think that the state proved beyond a reasonable doubt that he very well may be guilty. I don't know. The state didn't prove it to me. His attorneys gave me enough of reasonable doubt.
I think it could have gone either way, but I was kind of convinced by the testimony regarding the bullet trajectories coming from inside the vehicle, from the rear passenger seat where he was last seen. But yeah, I get the mistrial. I mean, it could have gone either way from a jury perspective, but I thought they did their burden. But we're going to be doing the retrial, so if you go and if you do that, I want
100%. I'm yours on that.
All right,
I'm yours. Yeah,
because there was some weirdness in that trial too.
Very much.
That was a great trial. That's part of my opening was that gigantic Raven, his attorney, with the with Raven holding up the evil plans and stuff book in front of the jury. I'm just going, no, she didn't do that.
But do you see why I'm like, yeah, like everything when it came to the state and the prosecutor and all of there's just too much stuff going on there. I can't trust them.
Oh yeah.
I can't.
Oh yeah, and then Leafy Fifi Foo just mentioned that the Courtney Clenny's parents just got arrested for trying to hack the victim's computer. There's stuff going on everywhere, and
there is, and that's going to be another.
It's all Florida weirdness.
Are you going to be covering that case?
If there's nothing else going on, yeah. I think everybody in LawTube plans on doing it. I probably won't do it on my channel. I'll probably just try to guest on somebody else's. Because I mean, all the big names are going to be doing it, and I would just be a fool for even attempting to compete.
Yeah. Well, true. Yeah, you're right. You unless you do updates in the no,
Yeah.
because you'll be sleeping.
Yeah.
You'll be asleep.
Well, I would still do things like updates
Yeah.
and whatnot, but yeah, we're definitely doing the Melly. I'm so embedded in that whatever happens, even like the end of the world happens, I'll still be covering the Melly trial, not whatever nuclear holocaust is happening around, because I'm just embedded in that at this point. But we got about 5 more minutes, people. So if you have any questions for Jules, just feel free to ask them now. And hopefully we'll be seeing more of her during the Melly trial. Is still scheduled to start on March 5th.
Yeah. That's gonna be really interesting. But yeah.
I lived with a Clenny clone. That sounds terrible.
But please do look at that request, that stay of execution thing that the judge granted, because I need legal clarification on that, because I'm really not quite sure what that means. And so there. And are you following Crumbly's mom's trial?
I'm not. Everybody else is doing that. I was doing other stuff. I was catching up on things, but that's a crazy weird.
I'm having a hard time. I'm struggling with that case. I'm struggling.
Everybody sucks in that case. The prosecutors are horrible. The defense she's weird. That's just an insane trial.
Yeah.
It's great. Flux's Jules is awesome.
Jalissa, it's my friend Jalissa is here in spirit of the trees. Thank you guys.
Hi Jules, friend.
Support. Yeah, thanks for
spirit
coming
of the
in
trees.
and showing Tiny Tina. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, see, there you go.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Jules, people, please, if you're so inclined, feel free to subscribe to my channel too.
I do subscribe. Oh, people.
Yeah, your people.
Oh, yeah.
At least in my mind, I'm kind of fun, and
definitely. Definitely sub Mike, because I do see quite a few of my TikTok followers in here. If you're not sub to Legal Vices, please do so.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to have you here, because this is what we do. We do trials, we do legal related news, occasional pop culture stuff, especially if it overlaps with legal stuff. We do the unexplained every couple of weeks, and we just talk about weird things like UFOs, ghosts, and supernatural stuff. We do it all here. We have fun.
Yeah.
And
I enjoy your channel. So.
And I really wanted to have Jules on, because she's been in everybody's chat. Anything that has anything to do with the mic, she watches everybody's stream to do it. She's been a big part of this, and she's just been this weird lightning rod for all of this that's gone on. And I'm just like, every time I'm reading it, I'm like, well, okay, she's in my chat, but why is she in the motion? Just none of it made any sense. And I said, as long as you're here, wanted to take advantage of the situation and have you come on and tell us what really happened and how it affected you and how you got involved in all this. And I really, really do thank you for taking 2 hours out of your early morning to do this.
No worries. I was happy to do it. I'm grateful that you allowed me to have a voice. And yes, it was difficult, but I would imagine if you were the Kowalskis, it was more difficult for them. So,
well, where can we find you? Where is your TikTok, your whatever else, where your other social medias that you want to put out there?
Currently, I do have TikTok. And there's a lot of my Maya stuff on there. It's a blind_gossip on TikTok. I do not have a YouTube channel. I know people keep asking me, they would much rather me have a YouTube channel than TikTok. I don't know. People have an aversion to TikTok, something about a China thing. I don't know. But anyway, um, I will say this. I have a friend who from in Canada, my friend Michael. He is working, he's in the process of working on something in relations to YouTube for me. I don't know if it's going to get off the ground or not, folks, but it's not out there yet. I'm sure when it is, I'll let Jeff know, and he could do he could plug it for me. But
Sure.
I'm not making any promises because I'm no fool. I've been involved with other creators on their shows, and I know the work that you have to put in. It's a lot, and the technology and everything that goes along with it. It's not an easy job, so I'm kind of gun shy with it. Anyway, it was wonderful. Thank you so very much, Jeff. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to do this. It was a pleasure. Now, people, make sure you go over there to her TikTok if you do the TikTok thing, and subscribe to that. And hopefully, well, not even hopefully, if she shows up on YouTube, we'll keep you posted and let you know. Don't want to pressure you into doing, because like you said, doing one is difficult. Doing two would be even. I mean, it would be more than twice as difficult. I think there's a lot that does go into it. If you do, we'll certainly be pleased to see you there, and we'll make sure people know. Again, just a quick reminder, tomorrow coming up, O.J. Simpson closing arguments with Barry Scheck. Friday, probably most likely be the Zachariah Anderson trial, the police interview with his ex Sadie that led to him being charged with the murder of his ex's short-term boyfriend. So that's probably what we're going to be doing on Friday. That's kind of it. We got the 2-hour mark. We went 2 minutes over, so it's 1 a.m. here. It's time for me to go to sleep, and Jules got to get on with her day. So mods, thank you. Nice.
Going shopping.
Mods, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much for doing your thing, what you mods do. Chat, thank you for participating. The Vice Squad chat is the greatest chat on the entire internet, let alone YouTube. And every one of you, I appreciate your support. You could have been anywhere on planet Earth doing anything with anybody right now, but you chose to spend the last bit of your time here. So thank you so much for that. Appreciate the support. And say goodbye to Jules' dog. Bye, Jules' dog.
Bye-bye.
My two snore pigs are over here, just snoring away. And we'll see you all tomorrow. We'll see you, Jules, when we see you. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Let's send everybody someplace. Where are we going to send someplace? I forgot to load up where we're going to send people. Let's see. Sorry about this real quick. Let me find a place to send everybody. Probably be a Crumbly stream. Let's see. Content, live, Jules, customization, redirect. We are going to raid. Okay. I see Good Logic Joe is doing his 24-hour stream for his daughter's wedding. So it must be. Doesn't seem like anybody's doing the Crumbly thing right now. It must be a lunch break, I guess. So, all right, let's do that. Everybody, take care. We'll see you later. See you tomorrow. Thank you again, Jules. And Frankie the dog. Peace, bro. We'll see you all later. Bye now.